Hi, I'm Andrea Davis Pinkney, and I am the author of The Bright Brown Baby Treasury and board books. Here's one of the board books that is derived from the Treasury. It's called Count to Love. So let me tell you just a little bit about Bright Brown Baby. Bright Brown Baby is a collection of stories that really illuminate and celebrate the beautiful hues of Black and Brown children and families. And we are saying with these books, little one, right from the start, we are here with you to celebrate the joy and power of reading.
Hello, I'm Brian Pinkney, the illustrator of the Bright Brown Baby Treasury and board books. And what I wanted to capture with my artwork is not only the beauty of the brown skin, but also I want my artwork to kind of show the rhythm and feel of the heartbeat that the child would feel held by their parents and bring that to life.
So the book that was my treasure from the moment I was born, essentially, was this book, The Snowy Day by Ezra Jack Keats. My mommy and daddy bought me this book, which was published 1 year before I was born. And I remember from the time I was very little, my parents reading The Snowy Day to me. And I love the book. And I think my other favorite book from childhood is The Selected Poems of Langston Hughes. One of my favorites is a poem called Hold Fast to Dreams. That, I think, was really the beginning for me of thinking about what musicality can bring to a story.
Well, one of my favorite books when I was a child was Harold and the Purple Crayon. And for two reasons. One is I always loved drawing. I loved being an artist from watching my dad, Jerry Pinkney, draw. That's one thing I did on every piece of paper I could find. And the idea that this little boy could make his world by using a crayon was phenomenal. My other books that I loved was anything that my dad illustrated.
I do get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Yes, I rise and shine at that hour, and that is a ritual of mine. That's when my mind is fresh and I'm doing my best writing. I immediately at that time go to my notebooks. These are my notebooks. I keep them everywhere in my pockets, in my knapsacks, in my socks, in my pillowcase, because when I get an idea, I want to write it down.
I do not get up quite as early as Andrew, but pretty early. And I don't know, something about movement is always part of my ritual, my process. And my artwork is very flowy and moving. And Bright Brown Baby, it was very important for me to show that rhythm in the artwork, or it's important for you to be able to see the rhythm that's underneath my artwork. And I'll actually do a demonstration so that you can see that. So I always start out by doing many, many sketches, maybe 100 sketches. And with Bright Brown Baby, the theme was nurturing and nesting. You know, that idea of holding these babies, holding these young children learning how to eventually hold themselves. You know, the idea of rhythm, of when babies are held close, they can hear the parents' heartbeat. So their mothers' and fathers' heartbeats were always close. You're going to get a little demonstration of how I do my artwork. I start out by just sketching, hundreds of sketches. Parents holding babies, playing with babies, peekaboo. I start with a blank sheet of paper, and when I'm ready to do the finish, I always start with an underpainting, which is just a very swirly kind of shape. And if you think about this as a heart, it could even be in the shape of a heart. And this will end up being my underpainting. Right now, it's a lot of energy. Once that dries, I'll think about, let's say this is a demonstration of what the cover of the book looked like. I'll start with maybe a flat color right in the middle. This will be a little girl playing with her feet in a little cute onesie, which I'm making in purple. So this is actually acrylic paint. It's very opaque. I'm just making a shape on top of that swirl that I showed you. And then, of course, it's Bright Brown Baby. So now I use a bright brown. This would be her head, her hands, her feet. And now, once this dries, I'll go back in with black India ink, a very fresh, flowing lines, the details. And in this case, this little girl, I'm remembering images of my daughter and what she was like as a little girl and how she would have so much fun just playing with her toes and feet, feeling comfortable with her body, in her body. So this is black India ink, just drawing the lines. And again, the lines are very spontaneous, very quick, very fresh. And then maybe some patterns on her little onesie. So these are how I did all the finishes for the book. I'll turn it around so you can see. That would be a sketch, or it could be a finish. Oh, Andrea, let's talk a little bit about how we collaborate, maybe.
Love the one you with and love the one you work with. We have a unique situation, Brian. I mean, like we are married. What's been so fun about seeing you do your artwork, and for those who are kind of tuning into this panel, is that you are in your studio and I am home. So we are miles away. And I think that that's part of our collaborative process, is that we work separately. So once a week, we also do have a meeting in the same room at our dining room table. Brian, I don't know if you want to tell them about our little work process there and how we stay happily married while making books like Bright Brown Baby.
Yes. So to stay happily married and continue to work, collaborate together, we have come up with little guidelines that help us out very much. One is that we do have a meeting about once a week. I'll bring home the sketches I'm working on. Andrea will bring the manuscript she's working on, and we'll lay everything out and we'll have a meeting like in an office. And we're very kind to each other. We make sure we say very nice things. And one of the things that I suggest for Andrea, that if she's commenting on my artwork, if she sees something that doesn't look quite right or that looks a little wrong, a little weird, she can't say something like the baby's foot looks like a football, because that kind of hurts my feelings. She has to say the foot looks unresolved. That way I can say, okay, I can fix that. Or yeah, I wasn't quite done with it yet, or make up some lame excuse. Andrea also has guidelines for me, which is whenever I read her stories, no matter where they are and what my thoughts are, because, you know, as an illustrator, I do have thoughts about the content. I have to start all my comments out with, honey, you're off to a great start. And then I'm able to add anything I want after that.
And that's it. And when the meeting is over at that dining room table on a Saturday, it's done. We don't talk about work any other day or time.
It's interesting this summer of working on this book, because there was a few things going on at the time. It was the Black Lives Matter protests were happening. And I felt very emotional in that time. And what was my contribution to this idea of Black Lives Matters? And it was working on this book and realizing that showing these families, showing these Black, brown, beautiful families, nurturing and loving each other, was a way for me to contribute.
You know, I always think, you know, kids see what they see and they don't see what they don't see. So we wanted to allow them to see very positive images of themselves. Again, from the moment they were born, from the moment youngins come into this world, you know, Bright Brown Baby says, you know, you are preciousness personified. You are beautiful. And obviously, you know, and your lives, you know, matter. Your young lives matter.
This idea of the patterns and the rhythms that are in the words, that are in the artwork. So it is like this unifying moment where a parent or caregiver and their child really bond. So the child, even in the womb, hears the pattern, the cadence of Andrea's language, the poetry, the rhythm, with the parent's voice, which resonates with, I think, the heartbeat of the baby in the womb and out. And then the visuals. I want it visually to stimulate, you know, their neural pathways in the brain in a beautiful way that all beautiful artwork does.
And you want to celebrate creativity, language, togetherness. That was the intention around Bright Brown Baby, to create the gift of a sacred moment, the sacred moment of an adult and a child, a newborn or a toddler, celebrating together the joy and power of reading.